Welcome back, everyone. We are continuing our chat with Dr. Dudu Makhari. So, Dudu, you spoke a lot about women, right? And networking. So let's delve into that, the power of female networks. So, what do you think is the value of female networks? And what works about them and what doesn't work?
Yeah. I think I've really had the privilege of being in female networking groups that allow me to see myself as well as I'm engaging with others. I was invited to a investment club um, back in 2016, I think it is, 2016, 2017, called Basadi Pele. And what a network of amazing people.
Nice.
I think it's also given me the opportunity to see just how diverse we all are, and that we are still all okay. That we are so different, we all get by. In fact, we all thrive. We're not just getting by in most instances, that we still are able to thrive. So Basadi Pele, we invest together. So when my husband likes to say, hey, Stokvels, it's not a Stokvel. It's an investment club. Get it right. It's an investment club. But really, it is a Stokvel. So we are standing on the shoulders of what a Stokvel meant to our mums and aunts, what it meant to be able to pool money together for a specific thing. And now we are just using very fancier financial instruments to make wealth, to get to wealth.
Yeah.
So our objectives might be different, but the whole concept of being able to come together for a purpose is still at the heart of what we do. What we are realizing that as we're coming together for the purpose of financial empowerment, we are also becoming, and we are also building community and learning about ourselves, and then learning about each other, and then also figuring out how do we support each other, how do we let each other be, and how do we co-create, because we are all so different. And the cohort of young people that I'm with, and yes, ladies, young people, because I think I am actually the oldest. I am the oldest in the group.
Yeah.
And just to see how people are figuring it out for themselves, and how we are to each other different things at different points. One of our members phoned me the other day, so I've now taken an active role in terms of trying to coordinate us. So I'm serving the moment of, we used to have a management consulting firm, or we used to have a fund manager.
Yeah.
We no longer have that service. So now we, as the members of Basadi, are our own fund managers. So we are now having to get actively involved. Some people must be in the investment committee. Some people must be in the secretariat. Some people must be in advocacy and education. So everybody must play their part. One of our members phoned to say they don't have capacity. They are going through the most right now. Family dynamics, work dynamics, growing dynamics. So they can't serve us the way that we'd like them to show up. So, and my role was to, don't worry, what can you do? So first it was to tell me about you. Like, just let me just step out of being a Basadi official, and let's just talk, girl to girl, like buddy to buddy, like what's going on really.
Yes.
And then I got to really understand, so what's going on with you before the kids, before the wife, what's going on with you? What's going on at work? What's going on with your children? How are you figuring it out for yourself first? And then I said to her, actually, the things that you're going through, the stuff that you need to be bringing to Basadi. Because just me listening to you is helping me know it's okay. Like, I'm like, oh gosh, if that's how you're doing it, oh, actually I can learn something. So just enabling us to be there for each other at different points in our lives, and still invest in each other. So it was almost like I have lots of games. I call them games, God-inspired moments. And that was a game for me, because my game at that moment was, God is very clever. He figured out that the Stokvel model is actually not about the fact that people are pooling money together. It's community. It's it's therapy. The thousands of rands that we don't have to pay for therapy, being in each other's presence, being that monthly, that quarterly meeting, allows us to check in with each other. And that's, for me, has been the value from a Basadi Pele perspective. I also do work, or I serve and I say serve because it's not paying work. I serve the Women Economic Assembly.
Okay.
We call it WECONA.
Okay.
So we are WECONites. And WECONA's main objective, it came out of the NSP around GBV and the National Strategic Plan around GBV, and realizing that gender-based violence sometimes is precipitated, or women feel the need to stay because of the financial obligation or the financial imbalance that exists in that relationship. So you stay because your partner is the financial muscle, and if you leave, then what are you going to do? So we're now trying to say, how do we use economics? How do we use financial instruments? How do we empower women to stand on their own, to enable them to make decisions that make sense for them without the consideration of your economic circumstance at that moment? So I serve in one of the levers, which is the economic empowerment lever. I serve in the EXCO, and then I serve in the agri sector. We operate across most of the 17 DTIC sectors, and the objective is to have an environment where women can learn. So there's lots of education that happens, lots of learning, lots of B2B engagement that happens, lots of opportunities to engage. And it's therapy for entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, because you hear people saying, my application was rejected. I have been banging at doors for funding. I'm not getting the funding. This is how I feel when this happens to me. This is what I'm sitting with. So the active role that I play, because I'm kind of being me, running around on all the sectors, like I'm involved in all the sectors because I'm checking in, is there activity, or there was a strategy session recently, so I was coordinating that strategy session, and I'm building community because now I know who's who in each of the sectors. I have a sense of what's going on with that person, because when I talk to people, I'm like, let's just put WECONA things aside for 2 minutes. How are you? What's happening with you? So I know it's tough. So, I've been on the other end of conversations where bayakhala, like siyakhalelana. Actually, it's not them just crying, siyakhalelana, which I haven't had an income. It's been a year. It's been 6 months. I am now needing groceries. I am now asking people for this, asking people for that. It's tough. I can't go back into the work environment. People are going through the most. So I'm now sitting with a lot of that, because I then make it a concerted. I try to make it a concerted before we discuss what kind of things. How are you? Like the other day, I heard in the meeting that you said you hurt yourself. What's happening with your surgery? Oh, are you still there? What's your daughter? You mentioned your daughter in one of the conversations. So you get to build in the human side. So because I hold the secretariat in Agri, I always start with the check-in. But you guys, and then I have a driving question for the day. So purpose, what is happening in your life? What are you sitting with, etc. And I find that is therapy. We really get an opportunity to ukbodla, as it were, before we get into the heart of businesses. So that's the second sort of environment that I'm in. And then the third one, which is recent, and also through an invitation, again, the power of the network, through an invitation by Osdima. Osdima, I laugh with her. She calls me Nana. I'm like, Osdima, do you know how old I am? And she's like, I know, but like, you're still Nana to me. I'm like, thank you, I'll take that. Are you sure you're not Nana really? I'm like, yes. And then I told her how old I was. She nearly fell off her chair. She was like, Utloba nali 50. Yes, I'm about to be 50. Like, serious, Nana. Yes, next year. It's the big 50. So, but through her, she then introduced me to the Continental, it's called CONOBA, the Continental Network of Business Associations in Africa. So just through that constant engagement with her on WECONA things, on live things, we then discovered we're from the same village. We discovered we're both in the vendor families. We've just discovered so much about each other in the process of engaging on WECONA things and building that community. She's now exposed me to her network. So, CONOBA is now about how do we make the AF that acronym, AF. Margaret is looking at me saying, I told you to practice that acronym and you are now messing it up. Anyway, it's the African Free Trade Agreement.
Okay.
And that is about how do we engage with each other, trade, how do we trade with each other, continent to continent,
Nice.
or country to country within the continent. And that organization, CONOBA, is then about how do I in South Africa engage with somebody in the Congo, with a female business in the Congo? How does a Nigerian female entrepreneur engage with an entrepreneur in Zimbabwe? How is policy actually enabling us as women-run organizations to be able to trade with each other, because our money on the continent doesn't circulate in the continent as much as it should.
Okay.
So I've loved being in that environment, because now again I'm in the secretariat, so I'm finding myself always in similar roles, because I like getting things organized. So now I'm supporting the secretariat with what is happening in partnerships, what is happening in trade, what is happening here. We've got an inauguration coming up on the 31st of July. So now we're planning that with the International Trade Center. So there's I'm getting exposed. So I'm now activating a different pathway. Now it's continental and no longer just local. So the power of being in those spaces with women is also just seeing how amazing things are happening and are being done by amazing Black women in particular. So that's been the privilege that I've been able to have through serving, because all of these spaces are non-income generating. They are time consuming, but they are giving. They give back to me, because I get to learn, I get to understand different things. I'm now going to go back and practice that big acronym for the Africa Free Trade Agreement, so that I'm not getting it wrong on camera. The AFCFTA. So Margaret always says, just say it fast. Nobody's going to know if you got it wrong. And don't pause as you're getting it wrong. Just say the AFCFTA. So people will think that you're getting it right.
Yeah.
So, and that's been the privilege. And again, the thread for me is every time I've served, the moment, the person, the opportunity, I gain so much from it. I get to be exposed to things that I didn't know, and I get to learn in the process. I think I'm a kinetic learner, which is why the PhD was also oh my goodness, I have to seriously read and absorb versus engaging. So I learn a lot more when I'm engaging with people, when I'm doing, than when I'm sitting behind, a desk. So service has allowed me to, in these female groups or in these female networks, it's adding to me. I'm getting to grow, and I'm getting to learn, and I'm getting to share. And that's the best part, sharing what I'm learning with other people. Yeah.
So in the space of networking, sometimes it can come across as, people are transactional, and it's about, well, if I'm gonna give this, I need this back. How do you keep the relationships authentic? Yeah.
So it's not linear. So networking is not linear. And that has been my biggest lesson. A very good friend of mine, Letepu, said this to me, when we are engaging like this, it might not be for our benefit. It will be for our children's benefit. So as I engage with people, I realize that this thing might not serve me, but it's serving my children's children. It's serving the network, because it will come back in some or other way. It will be a network that my kids can tap into, and not necessarily just me. In a business context, we must start being transactional, because we are at WENA to transact. That's why it's there.
Yeah.
I happen to use it as a space to connect, because that's just how I'm wired. But I'm equally happy when people are like, let's get down to business. Why are we here? I'm fine. And I do come across with people who say, no, I'm fine, thanks. What's the agenda for the day? They're not interested in me trying to find out how. No, they're here to understand how can they further their business. How can they earn money from this opportunity? And that's okay, because at that season in their life, what are they looking to earn from the opportunity? It's financial. It is a transaction. So it is also knowing and being attuned to that moment, and being attuned to that person's need. Because also when I engage with people, I sometimes feel my purpose might actually not be for the business for that moment. It might actually be because Linda just needed somebody to talk to. And then I've served the purpose. So we've served the purpose, and maybe the business might not happen. So when I go into those spaces, it's not, yes, it's about business, but I realize if it's not about business at that time, 6 months down the line, that person might come back to you and be like, we spoke 6 months ago, but this opportunity has now opened up. Are you still interested? So business networking amongst women, we must be intentional. Why are we here? We're here to what? To make money, right? Yes. So with Basadi in particular as well, we say your subs must be paid. You can be going through the most. I'm going through the most, but the subs, which is what makes us invest and allows us to grow the wealth, they must still be paid. Even if you're going through the most, you must give us notice. You must tell us if you're behind, blah, blah, blah. But the purpose is investment. So let's invest and let's not get lost in all the other things without the focus of we are here to invest as well.
Okay. So Dudu, then in closing, what advice do you have for women who are still trying to figure themselves out in the social entrepreneurship space? What are those things that they should be doing to make themselves, be seen, but to also be valued and trusted, right? Because that is the thing about networking and building a business. You're building relationships, which then unlock then trust. And then also, we're not going to refer people that we haven't, or we can't vouch for personally, right? So what advice would you give to those people starting out?
Start is my best advice. Start.
Yeah.
Do, because you need to build the muscle for failing. You must build the muscle for doing. You must build the muscle for understanding how things work and what works and what doesn't work. I have a ton, like a thesis full of what not to do. I want to share that with people. What not to do in this instance. So that I build the muscle for others to not do the same thing. So do, accept how you are doing it. Use it as an opportunity to learn. And tap into people. And just ask people, be bold and ask. Would say, I need to move cargo. I need to move things from point A to point B. It's going to cost me 5,000 rand. Approach 5 people for 1,000. If that doesn't work, approach 20 people and divide that 5,000 by what you need. I was always shy to tell people about the work that I was doing. And the community work, because it felt like self-serving, or it felt, I don't know, there was just always, I don't know why, I just always used to feel weird about asking people for stuff, which is why I've been self-funding the work that I do, because I was always on like, people have got their own problems. No, actually, maybe somebody will be able to help. So don't be shy to ask. And the best advice is, be aware of what's happening with you in the process, what you are learning, how do things sit with you. I didn't always take the time to analyze and to reflect on people's reactions, and then to ask, so why would a person feel some type of way when I'm asking? Why would people feel some type of way when they're not helping or they are helping? So just take the time and document your experience, because that is content. And document the stuff that's not going right, guys. That's for me now. I've become less embarrassed about how wrong I get things. I'm just like, I got that completely wrong. Yes. I cannot believe how it didn't even occur to me that was not the thing to do. So that somebody can sit there and be like, hey, that was me. Oh yeah, girl. Why didn't you think? And being able to sit with that being okay. That I am sharing how I'm getting things wrong. So that it does 2 things. One, it helps me to get it right. And it helps you not to do. Especially if you agree that what I did, no, I wouldn't have done that either. What not to do. So, and be open with that. And share how hard it is. I mean, serving others is painful, can be painful. People steal from you. People don't do what you require them to do. You put your neck out. I come to Linda and I ask for money. You give me money. I give it to the community or I give it to this person and they squander it. I must now come back to Linda and be like, about that money that you gave me to do X, I did my part, but what was meant to happen didn't actually happen. And not have you feel like you've wasted your investment and now try to appeal to you to be like, okay, that's a lesson learned. And where money is involved, those lessons learned are hard because it's like,
it's painful.
I could have taken that money and I could have done something else. I could have served something else. So I'm almost just inviting people to help us understand how hard it is, because I think the more we know how hard it is, the less burdened you become when you are so bodla and you put it into other people's court and you actually allow others to come back to you to say, I agree with you that necessarily wasn't the right thing to do or the right way to go about that particular thing. But maybe here's a different way. It might be better if you did this, and just being open to people seeing things differently, because it's not cut and dry. When you work with people, I might find you at a different point in your life. You might behave differently. But if I said the same thing to you in a different context, in a different season, you would react completely differently. So sometimes we just get it wrong because we found people at different seasons in their lives. And so, so my best advice now is start, use the time to learn, stretch yourself financially, emotionally, physically, and in that doing, you are learning, you are reaching your own self-actualization in the process, and you're helping others. You're actually serving. You're serving the moment. You're serving you. You're serving others around you as they are seeing you do, and you're almost giving others. It's true. When we do, we really do give other people permission to do as well. So that would be my best advice.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dudu. What an informative conversation, and it almost feels like it's an unfinished conversation.
Yeah.
So I think we do need to have you back. And thank you for keeping it real. I really love what you said about documenting the stuff that doesn't go well. Not that it's a focus on negativity. No, it's more of a lens on focusing on learning. Yeah, so that a person can do better, or someone else can learn from you, and that's exactly what we're trying to do here in terms of the stories that don't get told and the unfiltered conversation. So thank you very much.
Thank you again. Thank you so much. Thanks for starting the podcast. You allowing me to do it. As we were chatting earlier, I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready for a podcast as well. And as you figure it out, I think you're helping so many people, because someone wants to have a mind her own business as well, and they're sitting with amazing ideas. They're sitting with an ability to hold space, because I think that's what I've found. And I've been to one of your events, and your ability to hold space mustn't be lost in the process, that you make people comfortable enough to keep it real, to have unfiltered conversation. That in itself is the gift that you're gifted with, at least from where I sit. And that's beautiful to see, and that we might be able to look to you to say, actually, I got my ability to do because I saw Linda doing it. I saw her being able to hold space, and I've learned how, because she's the listener in the room, because she's the strategist in the room, just watching you is going to enable me to take that very same way, or the way you do it, into another setting. And I'd be like, I'm going to name this one how Linda does it. So thank you for the space and honoring the gift and the talent and the time, because if we don't honor our seasons and the time, then we miss it. So, and God bless you. May He shine His amazing face on you, and this beautiful platform may grow to have 800 millions and millions of viewers and find it safe in places overseas and lots of different communities, because it's going to be so helpful. So bless you.
Thank you. We receive. Thanks, Dudu.
Awesome.
Cool.